Oh my god, I have been waiting for this show to return for like what seems like forever, and I know it's not been forever, but I love this show so much, and this premiere for season 2 did not disappoint. Thumbs up if you thought it was epic, because I totally did. So I think we all knew that there had to be more than one killer after last was it last year, I guess, after season 1. So I don't think that was shocking to anyone, but I have a lot of different thoughts about how they're going to go about this killer in season 2, because in the movie series, which I love so very much, in Scream 1 they revealed 2 killers, so I could even see them revealing 2 killers in this season. Like, I don't really know where it's going to go, but I can't wait to see how all of this is going to play out. But what I love so much about this series is that it really pays tribute to the movie series. It stays, as much as it can, it stays close to the movies. And so I loved how there was a movie that started out this season, kind of like there was a slasher movie that started out Scream 2, the movie. I hope that made sense to you. If you have seen Scream 2, then that should have made sense to you. And if you haven't seen any of the movies, I definitely think you should at least watch the first Scream, because it's the classic one. It's the best one in my opinion, and I think you will appreciate this series like even more. So someone is texting, stalking, harassing Audrey, and I think we need to be careful about how we view this, because she came off as just the, this victim, this poor pitiful person throughout the whole episode. And I know she had definitely, I definitely feel like she was a major suspect last season. She had ties to Piper, of course, with all those letters. So they could be trying to flip it around on us, and if they keep driving it at us like that she's a major victim, it could be to cover up that she's actually still involved with the sinister side of things. So I think we really need to be careful about how we view her character this season. But anyway, so it's like there was some really intense moments at the movie theater where she has a job, and it was like the killer was there. That's kind of what we thought, but it was all like a big prank with this guy and this girl. But she obviously took it seriously, and she stabbed him. He didn't die, but who wouldn't take it seriously? You can't pull pranks like that. But this girl who was like part of the prank seems to be someone who's going to have a role in this season. She's really annoying. Of course, I guess she's supposed to be, but obviously they need new characters. We were introduced to a few new people in the season 2 premiere, but I think that's completely fine. I'm just hoping none of those people end up being the main killer, but we need those people because they're going to make those people look suspicious, and as they kill off more main people, they need other people to look like they could be the killer. I don't think that they're going to go with making a random new person the main killer, because I just feel like the show is definitely smarter than that. What I was glad to see is that all the original cast came back. That's really important to me. I hate when they replace people or certain people just don't show back up. But there's definitely something going on with Noah's podcast blog. So he kind of figures out that the people who pulled off this prank met on that blog. They kind of organized it there, but there was a third person who was really like the mastermind behind it who didn't show up, and Noah's thinking that this person must be the killer. Now, Noah looked really suspicious to me last season. He was one of my top suspects, and I still think we can't count him out as being a suspect this season. Thumbs up if you agree. So it's very difficult for Emma. She is like the character who's changed the most this season, because she kind of went through more than everyone else did, and she's not happy. She's having some crazy visions. She's just not herself at all, which is understandable. Things are not going well for Jake. Like, he is out on this like pig farm or whatever, and he gets his foot caught in an animal trap, and someone kidnaps him and puts him in a barn. And I'm thinking, things are probably not going to turn out well for him, but I didn't really know how far they would go with it. But let me tell you, I was happy with what they did. So there's a new teacher who has taken Branson's space, and it seemed to me like she's suspicious, but again, a lot of that's red herring stuff that they need to do to keep the show moving, and that's fine because they do it well, they execute it well. I'm totally fine with that. It'll be interesting to see if they make the killer this season like a relative of Brandon James. We already had Piper, who was a relative, so I'm kind of, if they're going to do that theme again, it's a little bit lame. But, they have to have a connection, they have to have a motive, but they don't have to be a relative. So I'm interested to see your thoughts about it. A lot of people have been tweeting that Emma could be the killer. Now, in the movie series, they never made the equivalent of her, who was Neve Campbell. They never made her an evil person or a killer. So not really sure if they're going to go there, but they could do that to trick us. But right now I'm not considering her as a suspect for being the killer. So Audrey's like trying to go to the police to tell them about her harassment, but then this person's like texting her and they're like, don't do it, don't do it. Anyways, so let's go back to Jake for just a little bit. Like, I wasn't sure what was going to happen to him, but it was looking like, you know, things were not going to be great for him. Of course, he was one of the main characters for last season. And I gotta hand it to the show because he was killed off, and I thought that was amazing because they needed to come out with a very strong episode. They need to, you know, it's going to be so hard to live up to last season. Just like with scary movies, the sequels usually aren't as good. So they needed something to keep us, you know, around and excited for this season and to know that murders were going to happen. Obviously, that's why we're watching the show, you know, because we want to see people die, right? I mean, you know, that's got to happen. So I thought it was cool that they killed a main person off in the first episode. Thumbs up if you agree. I thought that was epic, and he's somebody that is kind of annoying, so it's not like a huge loss anyway. But those letters that were going back and forth between Audrey and Piper, they're resurfacing. So when we had our first live chat, Mark, one of the guys who's always really great to come to all of my chats and talk to me in the comments, was saying that he thought maybe that the person stalking Audrey is not our killer, which I think is a really good idea. And I think we really need to think beyond there just being one killer, and it's very simple like that. I think that they're going to make this multidimensional as far as people being involved, people being the killers, people blackmailing people, stalking people. It's not going to be like last season. They're going to have to do things to make it different. So for us to just think one person's doing all the stalking, the killing, and everything, I think is, you know, us being not as smart as the show creators. So I think we need to really broaden how we're thinking about this season. So what's interesting though is with Emma, she's having like, she's seen things like when she was a child, and she sees like this pig farm, and we think that it's going to be the same farm that Jake was at, but it wasn't. But when they go out there, she realizes someone is living like next door, and there's someone that appears, and I don't know if that's, you know, like a red herring or what. We'll have to see in next week's episode. But the person has like all these pictures of her from different stages in life. They definitely brought up the fact that Troy James could be around. This is Brandon's brother. So we could, you know, we need to wonder if like he's going to resurface. Is Brandon really dead? Could he be doing this kind of stuff? Is one of the adults we know Brandon or Troy, or will we know both of them? You never know, because we have some adult characters like Branson, the guy who works at the police station, who could end up being Brandon or Troy. So they could go that route. I could definitely see them having an adult being a killer this season. So just to let you know, I'll be doing live chats all season long. That information's down below. Those will be Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern. I would love to see you there because that's where we can really theorize about who is doing the killing this season. And if you've just seen my face and you love Scream, please subscribe. I'm covering the entire season 2, and I'm super excited about it. So thank you so much for being here for this episode of Kelly TV, and I will see you next time.